attendees. Let a few folks pop in before I start. And we're without a tri-chair today. We are without Dharma. So let me give it a couple more beats. All right. Good almost evening. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Abby Stamp. I'm the Measure 110 Executive Director, and I will be flying solo to support your meeting today. The Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments or to get on our interested parties email list by emailing oha.measure110@oha.oregon.gov. That email address and more information about the council can be found on the Measure 110 OAC website. OAC members have asked that OHA and other staff who are present in the meeting space introduce themselves in the chat. Please share your role with the agency, and if you are a subject matter expert, your subject matter area expertise. I'll now get us rolling back into our discussion around funding decisions for behavioral health resource networks across the state of Oregon. But first, just wanted to pause and again share my appreciation of being your supporter and being involved in these conversations with you, and to find if there are any questions or comments before we start back jumping in with Grant County today. That would be a no. Okay, wonderful. Let's get rolling. We have just about 2 hours together. So we're going to get started with a call for conflicts.
Can we do attendance first?
Oh,
you remember the conflict.
I'm something. Fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Doing so good.
Me. I don't believe she's here. Amy?
I'm here.
Hey, Amy, thank you again for popping in today. Caroline?
Hold on. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Caroline, you too. Thank you so much for coming in. Dharma is not here. Hubert? Hunter?
Here.
Hey, Hunter. Jackie?
Here.
Thank you for coming in too.
Of course.
Josh? Keisha? Leticia?
Here.
Hey, Leticia. Linda?
Here.
Hi, Linda. Mason?
Here. Hello.
Hey, Mason. Melissa?
Here.
Hi, Melissa. Morgan. Ryan?
Here.
Hey, Ryan. Sabrina?
Here.
Hi, Sabrina. And Zeb.
I'm here.
Hey, Zeb.
Hi.
And we have quorum at exactly 11.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for stopping me. And so if anybody needs to go, can you not just leave? Let us know, put it in the chat, and we'll make sure that we continue with quorum today. Okay. Here I go. Doing a call for conflicts. You know, trying to learn just some new skills every day, right? And this is the one for this week. Because this week is a lot. So we're going to start with Grant County, going over to the left, and our call for conflicts. Are there any actual or potential conflicts with Boulder Care or community counseling solutions in Grant County, Oregon? Okay. Great. We're going to move into our usual discussion that we left off last night at 6:30. Small county, Grant County, and the total formula is $2 million. You'll see the total requests here on line 6 are at 2.1 million. Let me make it a little bigger for you since we don't have a lot to look at on one panel. This is the panel reviewer recommendation. Basically, they removed the harm reduction request from Boulder Care. As you see, it's in orange and has been removed. And Kathy Cervantes, I just want to let you know that you are not muted in case you've got a dog running in with the tin food bowl. And then here are yours, what you wanted to see. So this is everybody. And then looking at making reductions in the way you have asked, taking out admin indirect and reducing any expansion into other service areas. Bringing us down under the $2 million cap gets you down to basically $9 million. Because that would streamline the budgets to only having an NTE that doesn't include admin or indirect and only direct client care, which again, the provider can pay for indirect and pay for other administrative functions, but would need to do that with a lower budget and then would need to right size the program. So that is that. Last but not least, it's going to look very familiar as existing providers, which are the same too. And again, we can bring it down. It's the same methodology if you wanted to remove the reductions from each provider would still bring you in under 2 million. And perhaps you want to have a conversation about whether you want to do that $114,000 overage from one provider or both, or proportionally as a percentage, or doing the indirect and admin. So those are the offers on the table for you today. Where do you want to start your conversation? Hunter.
I like what Carolyn was talking about yesterday about raising that percentage from 70 up until we get it closer and closer. That way it's even distribution between the two. I don't know where that would land, but that's my first thought.
Okay. In this county, we don't even need to do that reduction of percentage at all, because capping at the $2 million ask and reducing the not to exceed amount by any service area expansion or admin gets you already below the 2 million. So you could, again, this is your decision. And if you wanted to reduce that a little more and reallocate in other ways, of course, that's on the table too. But just taking out the admin indirect does get you down there.
I'm so sorry. Who is this county again?
Grant. Other questions or thoughts? Hunter, go ahead.
So at that less admin and under $2 million cap, we're at 1,896. So basically 1.9, correct?
Correct.
What if we kept that number and then the difference from the 189 and the cap, we split evenly between the two agencies? I'm curious to see what the rest of the council has to say.
I would second that motion. If it's a motion.
Sounds great to me.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we fund at the 1.896 less admin and under $2 million cap, and split the 103, almost 104 remaining evenly between the two agencies.
Hunter moves.
I second.
Okay, Leticia seconds. Discussion, Sabrina.
Yeah, my only hesitation would be possibly to hand it or give a little, maybe break up instead of 50-50, a little bit more to the second organization that's going to be providing in-person services or something like that.
Yeah, and just to break in, if you split it evenly, it will put Boulder Care over their original ask. So if I can just cap it at their original ask to start with anyway.
Yeah, could we do that? Could we cap it at their original ask and then give the remainder to the second agency?
Yeah, just give me one moment on that.
Thank you.
Hunter?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm going to rescind my original motion. And I'd like to make a motion that out of the remainder, from the same number, I don't know how I'm going to word this, but we bring Boulder Care up to their original ask, and the rest go to, I believe it's CCS.
I second that.
Hunter moves, Leticia seconds. Discussion? Thank you, Jason. And I think just to be clear, the net result of this discussion is it leaves Boulder Care at the same level. It ends up being just a slight reduction to CCS to get down to the 2 million. Thank you, Jason. Any other discussion? Okay. Sabrina?
Yeah, so if we brought this, is it CCS? I can't see the name. If we brought them up to what they were asking for, what would that price difference be for communities counseling solutions? So say that we brought them up instead of bringing up Boulder Care. I don't know if that makes sense. Just because I advocate for giving more money to the people providing in-person services, and I don't know if it would harm Boulder Care that much, considering we're almost giving them full ask.
I'm going to show you all the chart right above, which was the panel review recommendations. It's basically holding Boulder Care at the same level, except for not having them do a harm reduction. That was that recommendation. And again, y'all can say, Boulder Care, take your money, do with it what you need to do. But if you need to do some harm reduction, you make those adjustments. And that gets a little closer to it. So I think well, this is your discussion, and so I guess it goes back to Hunter and Leticia about if there's something they would want to consider changing in the current motion or not.
Just a tiny bit.
Sorry. I was just going to address Sabrina. The original ask for sorry, what is their name? CCS is 2 million, would be the full cap. So they asked for the full county cap themselves.
Okay, I see. So the full county cap is 2 million. And so even if when with us doing this percentage part, they still couldn't get the ask because they wanted it all, pretty much.
Yeah, it would leave 0 for Boulder Care if we
Okay,
gave them their full ask.
then yeah, I just was wondering if we could bump it up a little bit more, but I retract my statement, and so that way we can vote. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Thanks for the clarifications. Carly, go ahead, please.
So sorry about the dog. Okay, Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Dharma is not here. Hubert, did he come in? Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Josh? Keisha? Leticia?
Yes.
Linda?
Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute. Yes.
No problem. Oops. Sorry, a bunch of things just popped up on my. There we go. Oh, Jesus. Okay, Mason.
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
And Zeb.
Yes.
It passes with 12.
Fabulous job. Moving on, we're gonna hop into Harney County, Oregon. Now I'm gonna do a call for conflicts because I can be trained. Our two applicants for Hunter County are Boulder Care, who's a new applicant this year, and Symmetry Care, who is an existing grantee. Are there any actual or potential conflicts of interest for Boulder Care or Symmetry Care in Harney County? All right, and away we go. Here is the total. It's a $2 million small county cap. And so Boulder Care's ask is 150-ish thousand. And Symmetry's is 3.4 million. So this is a tougher one. The panel review recommendation was to only fund Symmetry Care and not Boulder Care, and to just give Symmetry Care all the money that we can, which is still a reduction from their ask. Looking at your priorities, which would keep Boulder Care in, sorry, let me zoom in a little bit here, because Boulder Care in their application does speak to being able to offer culturally specific services. We then can remove the admin indirect. There was no service expansion. The total reduction with the $2 million cap would bring Symmetry to 1.8 and Boulder Care at 125,000. Would give this county 1.9, just shy of the $2 million cap. And then, oops, sorry, I keep moving the counties around. Sorry, Jackson. The existing providers only would be just going back to Symmetry Care and staying at the one provider, the whole formula. So these are the options that you requested for Harney. What do you think? Leticia?
I really like the panel recommendation, which would put us at the 1925886. Is that correct? Yes.
So the panel review was removing Boulder Care.
Oh, it was removing. Which one was the one right below that then? Sorry.
So it's this one here. I'm trying to highlight it. It's the existing providers. It is the OAC priorities here in rows 16 to 21.
Okay, so the OAC priority,
Yes.
that's the one that I would like, and then increasing the amount for Symmetry Care to make it the 2 million.
Okay. Linda?
I actually like the panel review recommendation because I think, as some others have said, I think it's important to have kind of services that are specific to that county, especially in these really like rural small counties. And I also like that Symmetry is providing housing and some of the other services.
Caroline.
Sorry about that. I seem to have trouble with unmuting. Um, so it's my understanding Boulder Care is they're not really from the community themselves. They're a kind of a independent provider that offer their services into almost every county. And so that just kind of concerns me. I remember it concerned me when we first were introduced kind of to Boulder Care. And sometimes I wonder if Symmetry even asked if Boulder Care would, I mean, it just, I mean, I would just go with Symmetry only because of the fact of the size of the community. But my other question is, are they not truly a burn? Because I see screening, assessment with nothing in it. Am I reading this wrong?
No, you're not reading it wrong. What we're finding is depending on the application, the applicant might put some of the costs it takes to perform those service areas into the program costs. So you'll see here that it's a 1.85. I'll turn it a different color so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to turn it green here. That's terrible color, but 1.805 is Symmetry Care's program costs, but they did check on their application that they wanted to provide all of the service areas, but perhaps like the cost of actually doing screening, assessment, SUD, and peers is loaded into that program cost. There's probably staff and other materials and supplies needed to run that. We can pull up the application to confirm that as well. Sabrina?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Linda and Carolyn. I also believe that we should have some telehealth options, but I do believe in this instance, a large chunk of that money should go to Symmetry Care since they're providing in-person services.
So I'm hearing the value of telehealth and also with limited funds, is funding Boulder Care the right choice? So those are two really hard things to try to balance and consider, but Leticia has her hand up. Go ahead.
I think the only other thing I would say is just looking at the size of Harney County. It looks like covers about 10,226 miles. So how accessible is Symmetry Care to the people in that whole county? So just wondering if maybe providing telehealth services for those people that maybe can't get to Symmetry Care, if that would be a good option. Just a thought.
Thanks, Leticia. Zeb.
My turn.
Yep, your turn, Zeb.
I'd like to say too that other agencies provide telehealth, by the way. So Bold Care doesn't have the market corner on telehealth abilities.
Linda?
Um, yeah, I second what Zeb said. I think if we don't fund Boulder Care here, they're like a multi-state entity that provides
There is community mental health providers in Harney County too. And it is, I mean, Harney County is gigantic, but the main cities, you know, is in Burns and Hines and oh, what's the other city? When I used to work for the state, I used to go to Harney County all the time. So I'm just saying that there are other providers, in Harney County. Just a statement.
Jason.
I just was going to confirm that Symmetry Care did apply for all of the service areas, but just put all the money in program costs basically. So
Thanks for the confirmation, Morgan.
One of the reasons I like funding orgs through the burns is I have seen so many organizations move so far into the future because of our funding. Essentially, like dangling a carrot, an incentive for them to, you know, have just like person first services. Allowing for medications for opioid use disorder is a big one. Not just allowing, but like really emphatically encouraging people to be on it. I really saw that was something that came out of, well, our funding. And when it comes to telehealth, MOUD, I think it's super important. I think a lot of people, would rather see someone on the privacy of their own living room couch than drive however far to meet with someone who may be from their same community. But I just like that the burn, because of how it works with the MOUD, it gets other organizations to just be sort of warm up to the concept of telehealth. Because I've seen many times, even on some of our calls, where there seems to be like a little bit of hesitation around the telehealth providing of MOUD. And while I get it, because we're so, historically it's like brick and mortar, brick and mortar. I just know that people really frequently love it who access those services that just find it really convenient. Obviously it's not for everyone, but there's still a lot of hesitation in some of the larger organizations to sort of refer people out to telehealth only providers, which is why I like the idea of funding Boulder Care, because then Symmetry Care can refer out to them. Just anything we can do to sort of like move the needle to warm people up, especially like old guard, old school providers, to the concept of telehealth MOUD, I think is really important.
Thank you, Morgan. Mason?
I'm inclining to agree with Morgan. Like rural areas, like very large rural areas for young people who may not have the ability to travel like the incredible distances sometimes necessary to get to like a brick and mortar spot. Um, like people who maybe have had their licenses taken away. Um, like I think it would be a good idea to keep Boulder on, uh, like Morgan was saying.
Thank you for the discussion. Um, so I'm curious what folks are reflecting now that we've kind of, gone a little deeper on both, I guess, sides. It's not really sides. You'll see the HJ in pink on the screen there is Jason's cursor over here in column Q. I'll zoom in over here a little bit. And I would love to hear if folks are ready to move forward either in one way or another on the potential burn in Harney County. Morgan?
What does everybody think about, cutting Boulder Care's ask for all the aforementioned reasons down to 100,000, giving all the remainder to the other org? People comfortable with this? I can make a motion. I see a thumbs up. Yes, okay. I would like to make a motion to fund Boulder Care at 100,000, with the rest of the county allotment going to, I can't see the name of the org,
Sorry, that's my fault.
Symmetry Care.
Okay, Morgan makes a motion.
I second that.
Sabrina seconds. Is there any additional discussion? Deb?
And I completely respect what everybody's saying. Morgan, absolutely respect it. I just will say, like, when it comes down to counties that are really tight with funding, I just don't know any organization in my county that doesn't provide telehealth care along with the brick and mortar care as well. That's just my experience. People may have different experiences in different counties, but I know for my county, that's something that's provided by the brick and mortar agencies as well. But I'm perfectly fine with supporting this. I just think when we get to counties that are really tight for funding, then maybe we should look at getting those other places funded. But I support this.
Thank you. I appreciate a voicing of a concern, right? There's support, but with oh good. I like it. Any other discussion? Hey, Carly, let's do a vote.
Okay. Amy, how do you vote?
Sorry, are you asking me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
My volume's on so quiet. I vote yes.
Thank you. Caroline?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Oh, you said Jackie?
Yes.
You said Kathy, and I wanted to do that one. I apologize. Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leticia?
Yes.
Linda?
He said she had to take a phone call.
Oh.
Perhaps she's still
Thank
dealing
you.
with that. Mhm.
Mason?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Zeb?
Yes.
That passes with 11.
Congratulations. Moving on, leaning in. Hood River County. Our providers as a call for conflicts are Boulder Care, Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, or EOCIL, One Community Health, and Providence Hood River Memorial Hospital. Are there any actual or potential conflicts of interest here? Okay. So you can see that Providence Hood River is the existing grantee in this community. And here is our home base of all of the applicants. The Hood River County formula was $4.3 million. And the Hood River as was $4.312 million. Why for some reason my memory is failing me. Here are the panel review recommendations. Which do 3 providers and covering all 6 service areas. And have the total is 4.312. So it's like 10,000 over the formula amount. And then working on your priorities. What we say we'll take and reduce an NTE by that proportion for the amount that folks indicate are indirect costs and any expansion. And then under a $3 million cap brings it way below the formula for the county. And then just the existing provider only would be Providence Hood River. And again, the cap is 4.3. I want to make sure that's right before I do anything else, but let's start with the discussion. Jason, can you double check that Hood River is 4.3? For some reason, that's just making my brain hurt. Morgan?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like in the panel, they voted to fund everything here. And the asks are so closely aligned to the allotment, that, I would be pretty comfortable just moving forward with the panel review recommendations. What do other people think?
Hunter?
Yeah, I agree with Morgan. We just have a $9,000 difference we need to figure out, right? If someone wants to do the math around, an even split from everybody of $9,000, whether that's percentages or I know we're asking Jason probably to do that. But if it was an even split at $9,000 from everyone, and then we could get it right to the cap, and I would be comfortable going forward.
Leticia?
Yeah, I agree with Hunter's recommendation. I would second that motion.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we fund the panel review recommendations with the overage, with the difference being split amongst the 4 agencies.
Hunter moves.
Leticia, did you want a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Leticia seconds. Thank you, Jason, for your math. I ignore my statement. I was just confused and nope. Discussion on the motion. Do y'all want to give a minute for Jason to finish doing his math, or do you want to vote now?
We could vote now, probably.
Vote now. Okay, great. Carly?
Amy, how do you vote?
I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. What was that?
No worries. How do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia,
Yes.
Linda, I think she's still gone. Mason.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, hi, Linda. Got you marked down. Mason,
Double yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Morgan,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Sabrina,
Yes.
and Zeb.
Yes.
Passes with 13.
Oh, fantastic. Moving on to Jackson County, big county. Call for conflicts on the following providers in Jackson County, Oregon: Addiction Recovery Center, Allied Health Services Tiger, it's also called CRC, Boulder Care Family Nurturing Center, Golden Rule Reentry, HIV Alliance, Jackson County Health and Human Services, La Clínica del Valle Family Healthcare Center, Max's Mission, Oasis Center of the Rogue Valley, On Track, Inc., Options for Southern Oregon, Oregon Recovers, Painted Horse Recovery, Pathfinders of Oregon, doing business as the Pathfinders, Reclaiming Lives, Rogue Community Health, Stab and Wagon, the Fourth Dimension Recovery Center, True Colors Recovery, and Youth Era. Leticia.
I have a conflict of interest with Addictions Recovery Center. I am employed by them.
Go ahead, Mason.
Yeah, I got a conflict with Youth Era. I'm employed by them.
Not maybe. Okay. Thank you both for turning off cameras, and then we'll dive into the information we prepared for you today. So Jackson County's formula is a large county. It is a $33.2 million formula amount. Here are your panel review recommendations, recalling that the orange ones are existing grantees in the current grant cycle. Brought the formula to 36. There were some reductions here. You can see a cap of $2 million implemented here where there are some italicized numbers and some red, which I believe that was some reductions. Ariana will correct me if I'm wrong. She's the boss.
The red ones that's expansion of services, so that's existing people who are asking for new dollars.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. And here are OAC priorities. I'm going to actually zoom out because it's a big one. Can I get to the bottom? No. Yes. Barely. Okay. So we have some added providers. So y'all wanted to prioritize existing and culturally specific. So again, what the applicant says in their application, right? Not like going deep into their websites and missions, to glean any additional information, but that would then include Boulder Care, Painted Horse Recovery, the Fourth Dimension, and True Colors. So here are the reviewer scores, and then all of the information here. And moving over where I am going to zoom in over here is the indirect, the expansion, and the reductions. So that is a $4 million cap because this is a large county, and that it's not a cap, it's a formula. I want to use the right language, the guideline. And then looking at this with just the existing providers, the formula being 33.2 again, coming over here to the total is 47.254. But then doing the reductions you've asked for, admin indirect and reducing any expansion, the total reduction brings it down to 23.4, instituting that as well. So we can live math together, and I love your thoughts. I hope you should all have these spreadsheets too. Hopefully you're able to access them. So I know it's getting hard to see because it's so big. But I'm going to scroll back up to your priorities and start the conversation there and see who wants to begin. And I think to help support and launch the conversation, I'm going to highlight the total applicant asks in pink, like I was doing yesterday, so you can see that, versus what it takes to get to within the formula dollar amount with this many providers. So just thinking about how much you want to spread and thin. So ARC going from 5.7 to 2.8 and down the line. Hunter.
Can you show me the so wait, this one right here, the one we're looking at right now, is that the panel recommendations?
Nope, that is up here. And this does not include all of the existing grantees because that is not how the panel was working until it got that direction from you all, which is about halfway through the review process.
Okay, can we go down to the existing providers again? So we're way under here. So I think if we looked at, could we go back up to the, yeah. I'm liking this one, but I'm looking at like, if we were going to expand in Jackson County with a place like True Colors, amazing work, much needed service. Their NTE is 7 million. We would be giving them 2.8. Like, can they work with that? That's just what I'm thinking about. Of course, they could do more than they could with nothing. I just wanted to start the conversation with that.
Me?
Yep.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking on what Hunter said. And we also have HIV Alliance who does some of the similar work too. I mean, when we said expand, it's like something that doesn't really exist around there. But yeah, we are cutting the pot real thin to add many providers. So yeah.
Morgan.
For the providers we're considering bringing on new, do we know, are they established in the county already, or are we funding them to start in the county? I know we're not funding capital outlay, but
So the only priority you all asked us to prepare for you was how robust their partners list is. And so that was part of the application, like who are the community provided partners that you'll be working with. I can take a quick look at that if you would like. Otherwise, it's going to require opening up those applications, which you all have and can take that and move forward.
yeah, the partner list would probably indicate that.
Okay. Bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and please continue to discuss though. Hold this over.
This is Jackson.
Yep, all but one of these applicants had a standard, adequate to meaningful partner list. And the one that didn't, it was Oregon Recovers. And that was not brought into the fold of either an existing or a culturally specific service provider. Hunter, screen share again, sorry.
And if we can go back and look at just existing burn providers and see what we have left over from that. And then look at NTE asks from, because I believe that was down to, yeah, for a less admin and under the $4 million cap, then we're, right under $10 million in the,
yep,
in the blue or the green, as you will.
Like me to
What would
scroll
everybody
up
think
to
about
those?
if we, go ahead.
Sorry, did you want me to scroll up to the potential expanded providers?
I think even before then, I'd like to know what other members of the council think about that idea.
Keisha?
Yeah, I wanted to look at the one with the suggestion from the panel review.
Okay, I'll scroll up there. And Sabrina, the mic is yours.
Yeah, I'll hold my comment for after we look at this one.
Okay.
And how close are we are on budget for this one? I'm sorry.
Here, Jason's doing that math right down here. I know it's real small. It's 3 million over and does not include all existing grantees. Oh, I'm sorry, Hunter. I was looking right at you with your hand. Go ahead.
So I'm trying to think about which existing grantees did not make the cut on this, which is Youth Era is one of them, correct?
Yep, I will tell you. It is, and I'm going to be scrolling, so hold on to your hats here. It's Youth Era, Road Community Health, Pathfinders, Oasis did, Max's Mission, La Clinica did. That's it.
I think in Jackson Community Health and Human Services.
I thank you, Jason. I missed this one. Row 10.
Do we know if they're the CMHP?
Caroline's nodding. We can look it up, but
They are. Okay.
Every county is supposed to have a, if they don't, they have to have something that's equivalent or contracted out. So that's pretty well, it's in statute.
Right.
Correct, Kathy? Cervantes? That's still
Correct.
valid, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Jackson County Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
Linda?
I know the panel review committee does so much work, but I'm wondering if anyone, because I wasn't able to watch any of them, is able to provide any context to like their recommendations.
Sure. I would love for Morgan and Zeb and Keisha and others who are part of that to chime in on their experience. Morgan's hand is up first, then Keisha. I need to step away for about 45 seconds. I'll be right back.
I was actually I don't think I made it to all of this one, unfortunately, because I cannot remember why Youth Era didn't make it, and that's actually why I came off mute to ask about Keisha, Zeb, Ron.
Yeah. They came off and Fourth Dimension came on because they have a more addiction focused, robust youth and adolescent program that would be beneficial. Not just youth, but adolescents also.
Okay. So how comfortable would we be something around funding the panel review recommendations and figuring out a formula to take it's only $3 million. I know that's a sentence I've never said before in my life. It's only $3 million. But that being said, I think we could come up with something there.
Hunter, I like that idea. The only caveat being, since Youth Era was an existing provider, I worry about not funding them moving forward. Whereas, I worry less about not funding like Jackson County, for example, because I think they have other funding streams. Yeah.
Keisha, is your hand new or is your hand old? Sorry, because I stepped away.
It's old.
It's old, Sabrina.
So we're looking at possibly funding the panel review recommendations, minus everything that's in red for expansion. That's a question. I wasn't quite sure if that's why it was in red.
Yeah, I want to, yes, it's in red because that's a new service area proposed on their application. Sorry, I didn't realize that was a question for me. Deb? Mute button.
Yeah, with that being brought up, I'm not sure how fair that is to existing providers can't expand services, but a new provider can come in and completely expand services from scratch. But with this panel review recommendation, I like to see Youth Era get funded, and then take a look at the new providers coming in. And since Youth Era is asking for less than what, like, two of the peer organizations are going to get cut down to. So anyway, I don't know if anybody has an issue with re-adding Youth Era and then taking a look at those new peer organizations to cut.
Got 2 thumbs up. Morgan, 3.
That's what I was going to come here to say, just because Youth Era had a fairly strong application for, I know they do some peer or youth stuff that isn't just SUD, but then they have these, SUD only peers in a few counties, and they were a previously funded grantee. And I'm not sure what you meant about them doing adolescents instead of youth. Those are synonyms. Youth might cover a little bit of a wider band, but it also encompasses adolescence. So those things are not mutually exclusive. So just to stay consistent with our past values of funding previous grantees, as long as they are doing good work, I would definitely want to see Youth Era carried over. And then perhaps a proportional reduction here across the board for the rest.
Nisha?
And adolescent and youth are separate, but yeah, adolescents come in a lot younger than youth. So they have 2 separate programs. And well, Fourth Dimension also has a residential adolescent treatment center, and they are strictly SUD focused. Like, yeah, Youth Era has a good application, but we're funding more than SUD stuff. And one of our priorities is really restricted to SUD. The mental health service has another stream of funding. Like, we really need to hone down on the folks who are doing the work that we are paying for exclusively.
Caroline?
I guess, did we just add Youth Era to the panel recommendation? I thought it wasn't there.
It wasn't there. That's
okay. Gosh,
yeah.
I'm going crazy. Okay, because I'm in agreement. I don't like reduction in youth programs at all. And I'm in agreement, I think, with Jeb, Morgan, whoever, Hunter, is the fact that we don't know if the other 2 are brand new programs for startup. And I'm in agreement if these programs are doing a good job. There's not enough money, of course, to give everyone exactly what they want. But do not want to cut any youth programs if all possible. Because if we don't reach them at this stage, then they're going to continue to carried their addiction into adulthood. And so I'm in agreement. I all of a sudden I see youth era in there, and then so I thought it was double questioning myself that it wasn't there, but it is there now.
Yeah, so this chart is your starting point, and so Jason's
Yeah.
in editing as he's listening to you talk. And
Oh,
I put
good.
notes here that this OAC meeting February 11th, so y'all know like.
And so now we're over, correct?
Oh yeah, always. That's okay.
I know by putting youth era back in, and now we tipped it over by 4 million.
Yep, 4.7. And anything else, Caroline?
No, I'm just saying that if by adding them up, then I think we don't add new programs. I mean, it's a hard reality. I'm not against Painted Horse, but and I'm not familiar with Fourth Dimension Recovery Center, but I'm just kind of curious because of the fact that Painted Horse is recommending to expand in counties as new programs, and where we have some existing program who's been there. I mean, it's always hard, I think, in my opinion, to just go to another county and replicate some things just because you replicated it in one area. Jackson County is a whole new Southern Oregon could be very unique. That's all I could say. And so I would advocate for Youth Era as because they scored 30. I don't understand how in the world they scored high and then yet they were not put in.
Because it's all it is hard decisions.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
okay. Thank you, Caroline. Anything else before Morgan joins in?
So Caroline, would you rather see all the ones right now, including the two new orgs, and everybody get an 11% budget reduction, because that's what it would be, or to take off one or more of the new orgs? Because for if as long as we're talking youth, the recovery centers is tailored to people 35 and under to create a safe, sober space in a way that the preliminary evidence on is super good. So that's what the recovery center is. But yeah.
So Morgan, but are they in existence already and just asking for new money for this go round, or they have to, or do you know enough that if they have to actually start from scratch?
I do not know. I was trying to pull up the application here in my email.
If it's okay, let's have some other voices in the room and get some other thoughts and figure out what the direction is. Hunter, please.
So as we sit right now, we're at 4.7 over. We are adding a recovery center for the indigenous population and for the youth population. I like that we're adding those services. I like this where it sits. I like it with youth era back in. I also there's a really wide range of NTE here with a lot of high ones and then a few that are really low. And so like what would that split look like if we funded this one? Just wondering what the rest of the council thinks about that.
Nisha?
Yeah, I just wanna yeah, second that we our priority is culturally specific and youth, but really honing in on fourth dimension starting even younger at adolescent age, and I wouldn't want to remove that. We want to get them as young as we can and get them help as young as we can.
Linda?
I, I feel bad bringing up an organization that's not on this list, but I just have to say it out loud that Rogue Community Health is was a previously funded provider, and at least their proposal is wanting to provide housing. I'm just noticing that in the total spends, we're spending like a lot on peer support, which is great. Like I'm a huge fan of peer support, but like really a lot less on housing. And I think that's just such a big challenge for people. So I think that I'm just interested in prioritizing housing as well.
Thank you for that. Jackie.
Hey, I have a couple of questions actually. If we look at what the panel recommended and look at what the programs that the panel recommended funding and what their levels were last time, what's the difference in that and what they could get this time? Did that make any sense?
Can you ask that again?
I don't know.
Yes.
No, in other words, if you look at what the panel recommended,
Yeah.
and look at what the program, all the programs the panel recommended, and look at what they got last time compared to what this time is, without adding any new programs, what would that look like?
In terms of looking at what they got last time, that's not part of the application, so it's not easily accessible.
I see. Okay.
But no, that's not true. That's not true. There's the past Measure 110 recipient tab in the budget, which is the third tab over, and it shows what their award was and how much they have spent. But it doesn't break out how much budget was in each of the 6 service areas. It's just the gross total. And you know, I've been really shocked by the difference in revenue available to grant for you all. It's just significantly less. So it's a little almost apples to oranges from the grant time period previously to this one, which is I think why this is so painful. There's less to work with. But what's the information that we can get, Jackie, that would be helpful to better inform this tough decision? We can quickly pull up that information of what their awards were last time, or
I think when I'm
May I?
Go ahead.
I think what Jackie was trying to say was, what would it look like if we removed the numbers in the red, like this formula less the expansion dollars?
Yes.
that's, you want me to take the red ones out? Okay, I could, sorry, totally overcomplicating it. I want to make sure, that Jason, could you like mark those down or something? Because I did hear folks have concern about, funding new ones and not allowing existing people to expand. So I just want to make sure we've got record of it. Oh, I guess it's right above. And you're doing it. Why am I thinking I should be editing a spreadsheet? Clearly, that's not my strength. Yeah, let's take the red numbers out and see what that comes to. Thanks, Jason. There it is. And I'll call on Keisha because your hand's up and Caroline's after you. Unless Keisha, that's an old hand. I'm guessing that is. Caroline?
So, Jackie, I don't want to speak for you, but I think what you were trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to remove the red and remove the 2 new programs and to see where we're at, because we added a youth era because we felt like it was important. So I might be wrong, but then that would keep us just with the panel recommendation of who to fund. And I think if we did that, we would be pretty close. We would be closer to the 33. Because unfortunately, we don't have enough money and we want to fund new programs, but at the expense of existing programs. I mean, there's no fair way nothing feels good.
Unless there's a reason to not fund them at that level, or the new ones had some services that we needed there. That would be the only thing. But if we look first at what that was, then that'll give us a sense of what that would look like based on existing money.
Yeah, because their overall request was 63 million if we were to fund everything. And so we can't give everyone everything.
So you're asking for in this chart here to remove the two painted horse and 40.
I
and
just
see what
just
the
just
total
to
is?
see just to see numbers, not only because of the fact that they're new, and
Understood.
I would love to approve everyone that's new, but that means we would then have to reduce the existing programs, and we're already reducing their amounts.
Yeah. No value statements here, just hard decisions, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
And that's not right. I'm gonna, while Jason's mathing, move on to Hunter.
So can we look at the existing providers then? Because this is exactly that. And it adds back an agency or two that we were not on the panel reviews. I think this is getting closer to what both Jackie and Carolyn are saying. This is our existing providers. We have a couple of numbers over here that are under formula, right? So at less admin and under the $4 million cap for all existing providers with youth era included, we're at that's 23, correct? And so we're 9 million under.
Correct.
So if we funded all of these agencies at this right here, then we have another 9.7. Then we could go back up and look at
Yes.
Painted Horse and 4D. And now we know in this panel right here that everybody is funded at least for something to do the work they wanted to. And we have this extra. So we could either add this back to this slide right here, because this is definitely less than their original ask, or we could look at that overage, that 9.7, at funding these new organizations with, that are by all accounts, and we all know if we've worked with these agencies in any capacity, culture specific for sure. What does the council think about that, I guess?
Deb, got some thoughts?
Yes, I got some thoughts. So the previous group that we were on, and this group, the previous group had $13.4 million in peer support, and this group right here is $14.7 million in peer support. I mean, we're looking at twice as much as, almost as twice as much as SUD, more than twice as much as housing. So I guess if we're adding new providers and stuff, I mean, we should make sure that there's more evenness amongst the categories, make sure every category is getting covered adequately. I think it's a factor we should be looking at.
Morgan?
Yeah, I think we got a little off on this one, Hunter, because for like the first thing we did in so many other counties was put the cap, so like 4 million for a large county, all the way down. But on the spreadsheet that we were just working off and like plug and playing on, there was no cap. So a lot of those orgs still had their 6.5, 8 million high original asks. So coming down to this spreadsheet here, these people already took a huge hit compared to the spreadsheet we were looking at previously. But I think that's probably, I mean, like to put caps like we've done in many other counties to try to, like Abby's soup metaphor, right? Try to spread the soup around before it gets too thin, though. So is there a spreadsheet here with the panel recommendations at the cap? Is that here?
No,
Okay.
there is not.
Sorry.
But that's why Jason's here, because he can help figure out how to do that. Of course, this has all been edited live with you all, but
Yeah.
so what do you want to see? Do y'all want to?
Well, I mean, it's just right. Yeah, it's up for debate. Do y'all want to put the caps on like we've done in almost all other counties where there's been a pretty big difference between what we have and what we want to give? Or do you want to work right away at like whittling down the organizations that are approved?
Brenda?
I really like your idea, Morgan, of starting at a cap. And then our decision is, okay, with the cap in place, do we want to start with the panel review as a baseline and add in organizations, or do we want to start at existing providers and add in? So it's at least an easier decision to start with.
Very nice. Hunter, what do you say?
Yeah, and I think on our existing provider slide, we already have the metric at the formula, and that's where we now have 9.7 to play with. And to Morgan's point, some of those places took a bigger hit. We could put money back in to some of these agencies. And I don't know is that proportionate to the hit they took? I don't know what that would look like. But also, do we want to look at that funding to bring new culturally specific services to Jackson County?
Would y'all like me to go back up to the whole provider list so you can see who to consider? You'd like that? Keisha.
Yeah, I like Hunter's idea, like going from everybody funded previously, and then adding the two new providers, and yeah, and then putting money back into the already funded. Who might have took a bigger hit.
Keisha, you got a little garbly there. Did you have specific providers you wanted to see added to the bottom?
Fourth Dimension and Painted Horse.
Fourth Dimension and Painted Horse. Okay.
Can you hear me better?
Yes,
Fourth
way
Dimension
better.
and
Thank
Painted
you.
Horse.
Great.
I'm sorry, my Zoom just restarted, so I missed. So I'm coming back into. I think was the ask to add Fourth Dimension and Painted Horse to the existing provider list.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Working on it.
And I'm going to scroll while he's working on it. Thank you. Scroll back up to the top so you get the full picture and call on Morgan, who's next.
Wait, are we starting with the existing provider list or the panel recommendation list?
The existing providers, everyone funded previously, and then adding other two.
And then those few organizations that didn't get recommended by the panel but were previously funded, like
But we're on the one where everyone's funded previously.
Right. They're on that bottom existing provider list.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just wondering if the panel review committee very thoughtfully deliberated and did not fund those, is everyone comfortable funding them anyway?
Good question. Hunter?
I mean, they're previously funded. They're in good standing. A lot of these services we most likely stood up or at least bolstered throughout the last 4 years. So, I mean, would I be comfortable? Yes. Also, since OHA has not brought them back to us during this process, apparently they're in good standing, and which means that they've been working amongst each other, right? So we don't want to break that up. So yeah, I would be comfortable with that. But of course, the majority would rule on that. Also, I just have, and I know we're getting close, but I have one more quick idea. If we brought in Fourth Dimension and Painted Horse and True Colors somewhere near that 70%. I'm looking at their 70%. If we can go up to the go up slide, so go up to the top slide right here. If we look at over here at the 70% line, which is in purple, the last one, they would not be funded for what they asked for, but we could bring all three of those agencies to Jackson County and give them more than the 70% because we have 9.7 and it looks like 2.8 would be 70% for True Colors, 2.5 for Fourth Dimension, and 2.3 for Painted Horse. They would actually get a little more than 70% of this already lessened from what their NTE is. It's just an idea. Or we could fund Painted Horse and Fourth Dimension at like an even split on that 9.7. I just wanted to throw that wrench in the works on what everybody's thinking.
Deb?
Is it on me? Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Keisha. I assumed that was an old hen. Please, Keisha, go first and then Zeb's up.
Yeah, I wouldn't be good with that idea, Hunter. I mean, we can bring in with the existing providers and bring in Painted Horse and Fourth Dimension and add the money back to the existing providers who took a big cut would be good. I wouldn't want to give them more than we gave existing providers. I mean, Hey.
Thanks, Keisha. Zeb?
Okay, who was the CMHP here?
Jackson County Health and Human Services.
And they didn't make the cut, correct, for being recommended and going forward?
Well, I'm going to make you nauseous. Hold on. For the panel review, no, they are not on the list.
Okay, and how much does that save right there if they're don't get funded?
In this scenario, at 70%, it's $753,000.
Okay. All right. And then they, as mentioned before, they do have other resources. So we can take them out. Now, the only thing I have to say about adding organizations is like we are so heavy in the peer support category, like it is getting really lopsided. We have to take that in consideration when we're funding the peer support category, reductions to what people's asks are, even it out.
Linda?
Yeah, I'm very much seconding what Zeb says. If we're going to add in any money back to organizations, I think we should prioritize those who are maybe doing housing and some of the other pieces.
Any suggestions, Linda?
Yeah, so this is so hard to keep track of. Like Family Nurturing Center. So are we working off the 70% column or the less admin and under 4 million cap column?
We are working, well, that's up to you guys, really. Looks like Jace, the cap is, sorry, it's 33 million, so it's got to be off the column Q.
Okay, when Hunter was saying 9 million extra, he was talking about column Q. Okay, so then I would advocate to add back budget into Family Nurturing Center for let's see, because they do quite a bit of housing to try to get that. I mean, how much? I don't million. How much money do we have to go around? And then On Track does quite a bit of housing too. So we could add back $1 million there.
And then that road too.
And I'm sorry, it was On Track, and who did you say?
Family Nurturing Center.
Okay,
And then I heard Keisha chime in with Rogue Community Health. Thanks, Jason, so much. Morgan?
Yeah, I just want to agree with Linda and Zeb. We have to just be so cautious that we're not building peer support to where, what does that trajectory look like, and ensure that the other services are getting funded. So like Painted Horse, we've seen them in multiple different counties here. What would it look like if we took them out as a new org providing only peer support in a peer support heavy county?
What do folks think about that? There's some nodding heads. Hunter's hand is up first.
But I think Painted Horse offers a culturally specific peer support as well. But what I'm looking at is is this the bottom slide?
Yes, it is.
So this is existing, and then we added the two.
Yes.
Okay, so the yellow number here is 38 million, correct?
This one on the bottom right is 30 million here.
No, I'm talking about the 1-2 over.
Yes. Thanks, Jason.
I thought that was at that slide right there, the less admin was at 9 million over before we added the bottom two agencies, and now it seems like it's over. Maybe this has been a lot of numbers and I'm getting kind of ahead of myself.
I honestly don't recall where it was when we started.
Yeah, because when we were funded at that number before, we had 9 million to play with, and I was saying, okay, or we had 9.7, and so I said, okay, let's add the two agencies. We added the two agencies, and now we seem to be over, but we didn't add 9.7. So I'm just wondering where that discrepancy came in numbers.
Oh, was it adding funds back to organizations that provided housing? Jason, did you do that? No, you didn't do that?
No, that's on the third slide over, or third row column. Sorry, it's getting late. Third column over.
You're talking about column R, correct?
No,
yeah, that's where I've added the million back.
Okay, I thought in column P before we were at 9.7 over. Maybe I was.
No, I remember so I know what happened there, Hunter. That was actually this column. So that was off. The number was under the wrong column. So the 9 million was actually the 70%.
Okay, it's in Q.
Yep.
Got it. Did you have a suggestion or recommendation, Hunter?
So at column Q at 70%, we have 6 million to work with, correct? So we could add that money to those. I think that's where Linda was getting at. We could add some of that money to these agencies that are providing housing. We could bolster these other service areas instead of being peer support heavy. We have 6 million to bolster other service areas, is what I was thinking.
And that's column R. What Linda asked for is column R now.
Right, with
so we still have 3.2 million.
Correct.
That's what I mean, is like we could use
3 million, yeah.
We could even use that money to bolster other service areas as the council sees fit.
Great. Thank you. Now we're all in the same column. Keisha?
Oh, yeah. So I just want to make it clear to everyone that a lot of services got lumped into peer support, like supported employment, things that were standalone, got lumped into peer support also.
Does anybody else have any recommendations on what you would like to see?
Just an FYI. That's probably why peer support is so heavy on every application, because a lot of other services falls under peer support. Example, supported employment.
Morgan?
So for that extra 3 million or so, I'm looking for orgs that took a real big hit on their SUD. And it looks like Addiction Recovery Center did it's so hard to compare with where we're at right now on the spreadsheet there. And the La Clínica del Valle got capped at 4 million total.
You can see on the far right what the potential awards are. So La Clínica del Valle, where is it? La Clínica, here we go, is asked for 5.2 and their potential award would be 2.8. So it's comparing columns K and R.
K and R, thank you. K and R, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, I would just split that up between orgs that are predominantly providing SUD, housing, maybe harm reduction, that took a really big hit. So La Clínica, Addiction Recovery Center, and anyone
Could
else.
maybe HIV Alliance, because they have a good budget for housing, but we didn't add anything back for them.
Perfect. So HIV Alliance, ARC, La Clínica, and let's see, K and R.
Oh, also Oasis does housing.
Oasis.
And they took a pretty big hit and they do a lot of, yeah, different services. So I would advocate for adding back.
And can I assume that we're just going to cap it at what they like? I'll stop at what they asked for if that adding back would get higher than that. Okay, you got what I mean. Yeah, thank you.
So I wonder if what we've said there that will get us to where we want to be. Unless you see anything else, Linda, or anyone else that can.
And I'm sorry, I had to restart my Excel. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Morgan. I just want to make sure I get everyone. You guys said it was HIV Alliance, La Clinica, and I know there was another.
Oasis.
And Addiction Recovery Center.
Yeah. Thank you.
HIV Alliance.
HIV Alliance. Wait,
that one also.
I already said that, right? Was that the first one?
No. So Jason's gonna, you would like him to kind of take the remaining and split it up between the handful?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Linda, anything else before I call on Caroline? No, Caroline?
Well, I'm not sure. Did we just take over the recommendation of the panel? I mean,
not quite, because this is all of the existing providers plus a few new applicants, and the panel review was not all existing providers. Do you want me to scroll up to show you?
Well, I guess it just that we seem to have gotten off course. And we didn't do this with the other counties. I'm just trying. I know there's not enough money to give everyone what they want, but I'm just a little bit concerned if we went a little bit too far off now. It's just a concern. If the majority wants to go with what we're doing right now, that's fine. But I'm just wondering, did we just take on? I thought we were and trying to come to a closer number there. And then we switched back down to the other section, and now we're trying to adjust to make decisions because we felt like peer support was too big and that we need to put it in other areas. But is that what we really want to do? I'm just asking. I'm just trying to observe. Are we being fair to Jackson County? Because we didn't do this with the others. Because we just determined peer support is too big. So do we need to go back to the other counties that we approved to see if that's true for them? So we seem to have gone off of what we've been doing. So it's just a question. If you guys feel comfortable with where direction we're going, that's fine. But I'm just kind of concerned that we made an assumption that peer support was too big.
Hunter.
There was definitely multiple opinions that peer support is heavy in this community, but we didn't from this final 70% number, we decided not to take any money from peer support. In fact, we added two agencies that are primarily peer support. I think the reason why we went from that the panel recommendations back to this one was because there were previously funded burn partners that were going to be left out. So we came back to this one, and also at 70%, we were under the cap. And so on this one, we could fund everybody and then see if it was feasible to add new services rather than the one we're dealing with before, which was new services in there automatically and existing burn partners excluded. From my recollection, that's why we came to fall on this one here.
And I'll just reflect, and Zeb, Morgan, Keisha, please chime in and Amy, Amy's still here, your perspectives on the panel review. The conversation really went in these same directions, because every county, what they're applying to do, which service areas and what the formula was amount, it presented unique challenges at every discussion. And so the focus really shifted just based on what we were seeing in these charts and in the applications to just make the best recommendation with such a challenging situation. Linda?
I just want to acknowledge that when I said to add 1 million for housing, I kind of just like picked the first organizations I saw that were providing housing, and that doesn't seem super equitable to me, because I missed a few. So I'm sorry, Jason, you did so much math, but I'm wondering if there's extra, if we should try to like split it more evenly somehow.
Okay.
I want to maybe, Morgan, if it's okay, can we have Jason sort of like detail what they've done here on this? We're into column S, and then kind of get a sense of where we're at and then see if tweaks need to be made. Go ahead. Thanks,
So
Jason.
column S, I think I'm still missing one of the SUD or housing focused people that we were adding. I was splitting something 4 ways, but sorry,
I
the
think it was
conversation kept going.
Rogue. Sorry.
Rogue, thank you, Keisha. I knew that was an R1, but I couldn't remember which one. So thank you very much. So let me just get that. Okay.
Morgan, do you want to chime in while Jason's finishing that?
Yeah, I think if we voted using like percentages, our vote's still valid. We don't need to know like the exact number here. Because I think to Linda's point about us kind of just like seeing things and choosing it, what if we just say we take that amount overage and distribute it proportionally to organizations that are providing SUD, housing, and harm reduction up to the amount they asked for, and that's how we split it, if it gets that high. And then the actual nuts and bolts of the math could maybe be worked out later, as long as we have really clear guidelines for what, or is that sketchy? Just so you don't have to do all that right now, Jason, but we still have like a very clear, firm understanding of what we're voting on.
Can we at least like go, can I have you all at least go through the list and like say which ones would be part of that proportional? And then I just want to make sure, would that be starting from the 70% and then proportional adding from there? Okay. But just, yeah, if you can list which ones you want that to be part of that proportional add, that'd be great.
Let's do that real quick, and then Keisha, you're up.
What we need to do is by
So I
service
thought we
sector.
were just adding back like the housing for Rogue was like 1.1 million or something. Because we were over a little bit. I thought we were just doing that. And yes, we have to get as closest to the number as possible before we vote. So it's no extra work going into this. We kind of talked about it yesterday. Like getting to that number, voting, and sending it forward. Keep patrolling.
Thanks, Lakeisha. I'm hearing what you're saying, and Morgan. I would almost say maybe we split between the housing, start with the housing, because that's already Family Nurturing, HIV Alliance, Oasis, On Track, and Rogue Community Health, and then Stab and Wagon. That's kind of a lot already. So if we just do what Morgan said, where we take the 70%, split that extra amongst the organizations that are doing housing, I think that's kind of what Lakeisha was also saying about prioritizing housing, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, and I think we're to the number now. I don't know how we got there, but I think we're there.
Well, you're all on the same page. This is awesome. Jason, that's a whole new sort of back to 70%. And Hunter, Keisha, sorry, Keisha, are you done chatting? She's done. All
If
right.
we're done, I just want to make a motion.
Oh, not quite yet. We got to see final numbers, and Hunter has his hand up. Go ahead, Hunter.
Oh. I just want to say, I think we've got it. I think once we see those final numbers, someone should make a motion. We have 7 minutes. I think we can get this done before we leave today.
Of course. Awesome. Great. We'll just wait a couple of minutes. Oh, no, Zeb, I'm sorry, missed you. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I'm sorry. I gotta say it though, but I mean, for the organizations that are taking a significant haircut, is it fair to the existing organizations to get less than the new organizations? Just because they asked for less? I mean, I don't want to throw this whole thing, spin it off, but like Youth Era, I'm looking at it, 70%. If I'm in the R category, is that what I'm looking at, the R category? I mean, like these existing organizations, if you look at them, a lot of them are getting less than the new organizations too. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like it feels tough to feel like people get more just because they asked for more, but that is kind of what's happening.
And also some of the organizations asked for less. And that's what I'm saying, like putting money back into those who took bigger cuts.
Sorry, Keisha, put money back into those who.
Yeah, put money back into those who took bigger cuts. That's where I was after adding the two with the overage, like putting those back in the organizations that take bigger hits. I mean, but we can't compare every organization because every organization did not ask for the same amount of money. Some of them asked for, less than $1 million. So we can't say when we give them less than $1 million that they didn't get as much as others because they didn't ask for it.
Thank you. Okay. Jason, you want to summarize real quick what you did here and see if there's an alternative ask, and then we'll figure out how to close out tonight.
Yeah, so just doing the proportional on the partners indicated, we do still have money left because of let me see. HIV Alliance had only asked for 1.1 million basically, so I couldn't add as much back into them. So there is 500,000 left on that method that would to get us to cap. That's 567 here.
So maybe folks could choose to add that back into some of the existing providers, to Zeb's point.
Hunter?
What if we split that money that's left over right now in between Youth Era and I think it's Solutions for Southern Oregon? Those look like the two that are left the lowest right now from what their original ask was.
But they didn't take the biggest hit.
That's true. That's true.
Morgan?
I'm trying to look at the numbers. La Clinica took a pretty big hit too. I'm kind of seeing why my brain was not working for some of these, because if I look at the ask for Rogue Community Health and the NTE here, column L, and see that it's 2.9 million. It's when the admin and indirect is getting taken out. Now, which one the one that I was looking at? Okay, the math makes more sense with Stab and Wagon. So if I look at Stab and Wagon, the NTE in column L is 2.18 million. And then their 70% figure is 841,000, which is wild. But that has to be because of how
That was how the budget was built.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So again, I'm very worried that we're comparing apples to oranges when we're taking that admin cap out. That in the end, although it says 70% to us, if we were to compare this figure to their actual total ask, there's going to be a super wide range of what this percentage is for their budgets.
Linda?
Morgan, I think that's a great point. And I think this was really hard, but I kind of feel like I'm okay with you. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve column U. Yeah, do I need to say more than that? Okay.
I think we need to put that 500,000 somewhere.
Oh yeah, once we didn't someone suggest to put that into Youth Era and
That's not the one which is the biggest hit.
Oh, we're still.
Abby, if you scroll over, I did add the percentage so you can see what percentage in that final column it is of their original ask.
Magic.
Oh, whoa, Youth Era got smashed on this. So did La Clinica and Jackson County.
Linda, something else, or Hunter? Hey, Hunter?
Yeah, I think Jackson County is the CMHP. I don't know that for sure, but I'm imagining that, the county has funds coming from somewhere else. So what if we split that 567 up in between La Clinica and Youth Era?
That's good with me.
Not everybody's nodding. Great. Jason, thank you for this.
Do I need to make a motion, or does Linda need to
I'm sorry, what was What was the addition there? Sorry, can you say it again, Hunter? I do apologize.
Yeah, the remainder, the 567,000 split evenly between Youth Era and La Clinica.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I can amend my motion now that we've put in the 500 to approve column U with once the numbers are finalized at the cap.
And Carly put it in the chat as well. So Linda amended her motion for the updated numbers and Deb.
I'm sorry, guys, but I can't live with La Clinica getting 53%. I mean, they're about a half their budget. I mean, are people going to lose jobs? Are they going to lose, half their staff? And that just sucks, as an existing provider, that would be the case.
And we don't know if just to clarify, we don't know if this is how much they've been funded for in the past or if they're asking for a big increase rate.
It's in their application in their workbooks.
There.
You're welcome to take a peek and get more of those specifics in there. And what Zeb is saying is going to happen a lot, even if y'all try to just fine, existing providers will just keep you on, no innovation, no additions, just because of the amount of money that's available. That's why your job is so hard. Zeb?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I understand this is really for sure. I thought there was supposed to be a cap on expanded services when it was presented to us. Like it couldn't go above 25% of what it was previously. Maybe that didn't happen on this one.
So it is included. So Q removed any additional service areas. We didn't do the math. So let's say someone was funded for making this up, $2 million for SUD before, and they're asking for $7 million for SUD now. We didn't do that math because that wasn't part of the application. We just looked at, oh, they want to expand to doing peers now, but we're going to take peers out of this equation.
So I guess I'm just going to ask, the two organizations that we're adding seem like fantastic organizations, culturally specific. Love that. Absolutely love it. But I believe so is La Clinica. And if we're creating two new organizations in that county, then we're adding jobs somewhere, potentially taking it off La Clinica. I know these are tough decisions. We can't come to a perfect thing. I got
Two different cultures.
What was that?
I was saying two different cultures. They're sorry, they are two different cultures that they are supporting. They're not the same population. They're different.
So I guess I'm just asking though, do the two organizations need as much money as they're proposed to get right now to get up and going and having a footprint there?
Morgan, and then I want to do a time check and assess how you want to handle where we're at. Morgan?
For all the aforementioned reasons, looking at some of the other totals, let's cap both of them at 1.5 million. And if that's not enough, they can say that's not enough. And then try to raise the 70% number a little bit, the proportional, to get it to whatever it is, 73% or 75%, right? Is that where we're still on track? We're doing?
Is that clear, Jake?
I'm comfortable moving what we just the formula. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm comfortable moving the formula we just hashed out for all this time. Letting Linda put in the motion and we vote.
Okay, we still have a motion on the table that has not been seconded.
Second.
Any other discussion with the formula to approve column U for Jackson County and distributes any overage to La Clinica and Youth Era. Any other discussion? Okay, Carly, let's vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was trying to get to my hand.
Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Caroline?
No.
Hunter?
Yes.
Jackie?
I just keep having so many questions about this. I don't feel like I can say anything. So I have to say no because I can't say yes.
Okay, thank you. Keisha?
Yes.
Leticia? Oh, I'm sorry, Leticia had a conflict, didn't she? Linda?
Yes.
Melissa?
I'm gonna say yes, but I'll be honest, it's hesitant.
Thank you. Morgan?
No.
Ryan?
Yes.
Sabrina? I think she stepped out. Zeb?
I'm sorry, I gotta say no.
And that passes with exactly 6.
Well, that's a really hard way to end our time together. I don't really even know the words to share other than another big thank you. Not easy work you are tackling. And I just really appreciate your patience and grace with one another as this is so freaking hard to do. In other news, you are making some really amazing progress. And as y'all continue to work together to continue to make these hard decisions across the state, you know, let's keep pausing and make sure that the structure that I'm trying to help you with is right. And if we can pivot, provide more information, you know, and continue to help you muddle through this really challenging work. Morgan?
Oh yeah, I just in the future, if we could see the percent of the total ask with not capped with the admin, just like how we saw right now, what that percentage was of their total ask. I thought that was pretty helpful just because the program cost is always so hard to try to compare.
Okay, so you want to see the percentage that the reduction is compared to the NTE request.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Jason. It's great. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow.